What's up guys, Steven here from Ginger on the Go, the #1 travel YouTube channel according to my recent survey of one person. Now today, in case you didn't read the title, we are going to keep talking about France. Last week it was all about Paris. If you didn't see that video, you can check it out there. Wow, I got the direction right. And I'll link to it in the description below. In this video, we're getting out of Paris for the most part and talking about some of the top things to do in France. Most of these are inspired from my recent travels to France with my mom, and some of them you've heard of, and I bet some of them you haven't, but they are all great things to do. And if you like this video, then like this video, you guessed it, and subscribe if you want to get more awesome travel content. But for now, let's just dive in to some of the best things to do in France. All right, let's get the obvious out of the way quick, and that is Paris. Paris is first because that is most likely where you'll be beginning and ending your trip in France. But Paris is also one of the best cities in Europe and worth spending 3 or 4 days in. There are a lot of things to do in Paris, but we're not going to go over that in this video because, like I said, we just did a video about it. You can see the link in the description. Now I'm just over plugging myself, but check it out. But one thing I didn't mention in that last video is Versailles. Versailles is a beautiful, gorgeous gold palace, which is about as elaborate as a palace can get. And actually, my highlight of Versailles was not the gold covered palace, it was the gardens. These gardens are amazing. They're worth seeing just for the fountains. The fountains are incredible. This is just a short day trip from Paris. Like the Louvre, you need to get there early because the lines get insane. Next up, we have Mont St Michel, not Mont St Michael, which is how I pronounced it for a long time. Now this will probably be the longest entry on this list because there's so much to dive into. And a few words of warning as well. Besides Paris, Mont St Michel is the most visited destination in France, and that's largely based on how it looks. The city is absolutely iconic and it's beautiful. Whether you're close or in it, everything is stunning. It's actually said that Saint Michael gave a bishop a vision of the city, and he didn't act on it for a long time, but then when he did, it was finally Mont St Michel, or Michael Michel. But if you look closer at the city, you'll see that it's actually a living example of that outdated and terrible system of feudalism. You have God at the top, and then the church, and then the nobles, and then the upper class, and as you go down the city, you get to the lower class. It's very much what you were born is what you are. And while that's a terrible system, it is also kind of cool to see a city laid out that way. Another quick fact about Mont St Michel is that the English could never capture it during the 100 Years' War due to the rising tides. Joan of Arc supposedly fought there as well, and to this day it's never been captured. Now, as far as what the city offers travelers today, well, that's mainly just its looks, right? The city is beautiful. It's full of stunning medieval architecture and great views of the surrounding landscape. You have the big church at the top, which takes like an hour and a half to go through. But otherwise the city doesn't offer much. Most buildings today are restaurants, or tour shops, and the city actually closes down at 6 p.m. I think. So if you're not staying in the city, you have to leave. And outside the city, there's really not a lot to do. We stayed in an Airbnb out there. It was like a 30-minute walk down a dirt road. There were no grocery stores or restaurants. Found this shop. We were so excited. It looked like a grocery store, but really it is just selling wine and souvenirs and like crackers. Not a lot going on. Another word of caution is that one of the most famous things to eat in Mont St Michel is the omelet. Now these omelets are massive. They're gigantic and they're like foamy and runny inside. They're really weird. Prices range from 17 to 30 euros for an omelet. I actually got one and I hated every second of it. It was disgusting, and I love eggs. and the person eating next to us also got the omelet. Judging from their facial expression, also hated it. It's a very divisive thing, I guess. You either love it or hate it. I thought I would love it, and I took about 4 bites. So that's a word of warning. Unless you're really love eggs, runny eggs, foamy eggs, skip the omelet. Another good thing about Mont St Michel is that it's close enough to Paris that you can make a long day trip out of it. There are tour companies that go there, or you could hop on the train, and there are shuttle buses from the village outside to Mont St Michel for free, but from the train station you have to take another bus about half an hour. But it's possible if you have a free day in Paris and you want to see this beautiful city. If that seems too far for a day trip, there are some cities close by that are perfect for seeing Mont St Michel and worth visiting themselves, which is why they are our next thing to do, and that's Granville and the surrounding cities around it. This is a beautiful area of France with a beautiful medieval old town. There's a house of Christian de jour, a casino, a beachfront, and some stunning walks along the cliffs. Other than that, there are some great beach communities as well where you can chill and relax, get a nice Airbnb. We had a very nice Airbnb, so if you're headed to that area, get a hold of me and I'll share the details with you. It's much cheaper than Paris, especially for being on the beach. So this is one of my new favorite areas and things to do in France. Explore Granville, go for a hike, hang out on the beach. You won't be disappointed. Our next place to go is Colmar, or Colmar, one of those, which is on the opposite side of France, near the border of Germany. Now this quickly became my new favorite place in France, other than Paris of course. But this is a stunning, well-preserved medieval town that's just beyond beautiful. There's a few canals running through the city, which is why it's kind of earned the nickname of Little Venice. They have good food, there's crazy buildings, there's churches, there's the best Thai restaurant in France, which sounds weird. There's a ton of Michelin star restaurants if you're into that, and they're all very well priced. I'm talking 30, 40 euros, and that gets you a starter, a main, and a dessert. So for Michelin star, that is unbeatable. But really the highlight is the city itself. It's just so well preserved, it's so crazy looking. It's like going back in time with a bunch of other tourists. The Knights of St. John were there, and their Grandmaster house there, which is cool. It looks like it came from the Middle East. It's just a cool place to hang out. But if you're looking for nightlife or things to do after it gets dark, Colmar is not the place. It gets pretty quiet after dinner time. If you want to chill in a relaxing and beautiful city, I can't stress enough how beautiful Colmar is, then this is the place. But if you're looking for excitement, it will get boring. And if that's you, you're looking for excitement, our next area will probably bore you as well, because that is just the towns outside of Colmar. There's 4 or 5 little medieval villages that you can hike between or bike between. There's chateaus hidden in the hills that you can hike to. Actually, the main town, which I'm never going to be able to pronounce, Require, I think I pronounced that right, is said to be the inspiration of the town and beauty of the beast. That's how beautiful this area is. Plus, Require had the best French onion soup in all of France and all of the world. It is worth going back there just to eat the soup. And I don't have the name of the place offhand. I have it written down, so if you're going there and you want the best French onion soup ever, then hit me up and I'll get it to you. Now, the best way to explore these towns is from Colmar, and there is a hop-on, hop-off bus that runs between them, but that only runs like half the week. So the other way to get there, which took me like a half a day to find out, is bus 108 from the main train station. It will take you right to Require, and from there you can explore all the other cities. Overall, Colmar and the area surrounding it completely charmed me, and I would highly recommend checking it out at least for 2 or 3 days. Other popular areas to visit when in France are places like Nice and Bordeaux and the entire French Riviera. You'll get a lot of colorful houses, wine, and good food. It is one of the best areas to visit in France. I didn't make it there this time, so it's not as fresh in my memory as these other places. And that's our video for today. Let me know what you thought the best area of France to visit was in the comments below. And if you liked it, remember, hit that subscribe button, like button, bell button, every button. And until next time, travel with confidence.